Hi everybody, this is �\Matthew𝐃𝐨𝐽. It is July 16th, 2020. I'm the royalty published author of this book that is making a difference around the entire world, and it's about my journey through autism and Asperger's. Now I want to preface this video with a few things. First, this video is explaining what happened on July 16th, 2017, 3 years ago as of filming this. Two, the reason for this is because of autism, and it's going to say what happened to me 3 years ago. The first part of the story is going to be something that's probably sad, but it's going to conclude with something that's probably more happy. I just hope that through this I'm just, making an encouragement. Like everything that I do, I just hope it's an encouragement. The reason for videos like this is to expose some of the things that people do, that people with autism still face discrimination, hatred, and worse. And I'm not saying that I was, vilely hated, or at least most of the time over the years, but this is a story that was like a fair, mild thing that occurred. Another thing I want to preface this first is that I am not, because you're going to hear this story, I'm not letting this story run my life, but as an autistic, I could never, ever, 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 ever forget it. And whether it's good or bad, I believe I made a point in here, but that's something about autism. If somebody is mean to an autistic person, they will never, ever forget it. And I just hope and pray that they don't choose it to run their life. And I'm not choosing this to run my life. This isn't, everything I think of, but it's still up in my mind. When we think back on these things, even if it's like 20 plus years ago, the amount of pain and sadness is just as bad as if it just happened 2 seconds ago. And I'm being serious right there. So another part to preface this video is the reason why I am coming forward with this. It's to, expose to the world, like, this is still what's happening, but at the same time I'm being wise about it. I would never, never, never point out at anybody, or like this person did this to me or that person did this to me. If there's like a low profile person, individual, in the community, neighbor, somebody at the store, I would never ever say anything that would identify them, just to say. And another reason why is kind of for my benefit, and everybody has different ways to cope with certain things. And for people with autism, is to talk it out. I have a friend, I have many friends and acquaintances around the world, including fellow YouTubers, and there's a YouTuber that we communicate back and forth sometimes. And even in his YouTube video, all the way in the United Kingdom, he talks about, he has autism. He's like, I have autism, and because of that, I've got to talk things out. That's how we cope with things and such. And I'm not telling anybody out there who has autism to go public with these sorts of things, or go all over social media or anything like that, like this, but to find a person that you could trust, a family member, a teacher, somebody that you could trust, and that they will actually take the time to listen to you, and that you could confide in them, like what's going on and what's bugging you, because it's always unhealthy to hold things in. And frankly, that's what I've been doing all my life, and I'm just now trying to turn that around. And now I'm using that experience and a lot of other experiences to help encourage people, especially children and teenagers across the world. And that's also why I'm adamant about going to schools and churches and such. Well, anyway, that was a preface to the video, and I just wanted, I had to get that part out, because I don't want people to think I'm just like, this is all I think about 24/7, day and night, and everything. It's not. I have a lot of, good memories and things that I'm doing that make me happy, like going to school and getting an education, and promoting my book, and volunteering at Royal Rangers, and so many other things that do make me happy and such. So please don't get me wrong. Okay, so let's talk about July 16th, 2017. I invite you. I'm not forcing anybody to watch any of my videos. I did have to switch arms in case you didn't notice. So anyway, what happened on Sunday, July 16th, 2017, It was right after church at Newport Mesa Church, and I believe I was volunteering for the cameras or the switches, because I was a part of their multimedia, the cameras, the directing, the computers, AV tech stuff. And I remember what I was wearing. I don't think it was the first time I was wearing this or not, but I remember I was wearing a yellow long sleeve dress shirt. I mean, I always dress out for church since March 15th, 2009, but I remember I was wearing this one, and I ran into one of my commanders at Royal Rangers, because Newport Mesa Church, that was where we had our outpost at. And one of my commanders, he smiled at me and said, and complimented on my shirt. He said, "It really makes you shine," and such. And then not more than a couple minutes later at that, I ran into one of the Royal Rangers, and he was going into grade 6. And he sort of fell away from Royal Rangers like a month or two before that. But I went up to him, and I'm always the cheerful guy, the person that likes to motivate and edify and just mentor and just speak life and just be positive on things and to help people out. And I'm like, "Hi, how are you doing?" and everything. And I wasn't too surprised, but he just flat out ignored me, and he made sure that I knew that he was ignoring me. There was another person there, and he was more, I think he was younger, but he was more of a friend to me, and he didn't really know what to do at that moment, because I think he discerned that the other person was ignoring me and such. And I'm like trying to encourage him, and I'm saying like, "Hello, how are you doing? And I hope that you enjoy your summer. I mean, you're going to grade 6, right, at Newport Al?" And he just either mumbled and just didn't look at me, and he talked over me to the other person and such. And you know what, I did what I could do, and that's all I could do. I mean, I never force my presence on anyone unless like they put themselves in danger or anything like that. Then I have that moral obligation, and the obligation as a Royal Rangers commander and such. But thank God that I don't think that has ever happened before. But I just went up to him this day, and he just ignored me. But I just left with a smile and just saying, "Just have a nice summer, okay? Just have a nice summer." And I left, and I felt so torn inside. Like my entire insides, my entire feelings were so bruised and hurt inside, because as an autistic, I've been ignored by most people all my life. And I was like 21 3 years ago, and ever since being 5 and onward, almost half of what I know is just being ignored by people. It didn't matter if it was church, didn't matter if it was school, or anything like that. And all I wanted to do my entire life is just be a friend and get along, and I could. It's just a lot of people just don't give me the opportunity, and that's kind of why I started to write a book, to explain these feelings and explain that if I'm going through this, then many people may be going through this 10 times worse, and I want to help those people as much as I want to help this person who was at this point going into grade 6. So I mean, I cannot fight it. I cannot do anything after that. But to tell you the truth, I mean, he just didn't give me a word in edgewise, so he doesn't know this, but he is one of the strongest persons I know. Honestly, I could discern it, and I still discern he is one of the strongest persons I know. But he doesn't know that I think that, and he probably doesn't care at this moment. The last time I saw him was a couple of years ago at Royal Rangers. I was teaching astronomy merit, and he was on his scooter in the hallway, just passing by, because people from youth, I guess, had to come down and put away a few things in another room. And I look up, and I see that he passed by, and of course I knew instantly who it was. It was that boy again. And he came back around, and he saw me, and he looked at me, and his entire countenance lit up, like in a fearful way. It's like his eyes widened, and I could tell that there was something about him that he was fearing, and I don't know what. And it lasted for a few seconds, and he quickly turned away and booked it and such. And that was like 2 years, almost 2 years after. This was like May 2019, I believe, or early June, I think, June 5th or the 12th, 2019. But anyway, so I just don't know what or why he just discriminates against my autism and anybody else who's autistic, because honestly, it's not just me, but a lot of other people, you know, say things, and you know, it really makes me hurt bad on his behalf. Of course, I've interceded for him. I prayed for him lots of times, because it brings to reality that people are still being bullied. So if I could tell you about this young man, he was bullied, and that's why he is a bully. And I found that out when I volunteered for VBS later that summer in early August 2017, and the last day of July 2017 anyway. And the family ministries pastor, you know, told us VBS leaders that, you know, we have a person coming to VBS and he was bullied, and therefore he is a bully. He is a bully because he was bullied, and we're glad to have him, and hopefully we could feed him the word and all that. And I remember the first day of VBS, I remember I saw him and I said hi, and you know, he smiled and said hi, and that's when did he just smile at me and say hi? But that was short-lived, just to say. So I still pray for him, and other people. I've also overheard other people, you know, they're being a friend to him, but they're, you know, telling me that he hasn't really changed, so I'm still praying for him. I know I shouldn't really take it this hard, but I'm a person that tries to help people, and a lot of people who know me knows that I never give up. I never give up. I mean, even back in elementary school, and I just want to help people. So anyway, that's all I could do, but that was my day 3 years ago. I can't forget it. Every time I think about it, it's as if it happened a few seconds ago, and for the rest of the day, I was gloomy, just gloomy and sad, like when I got home, and just thinking how I was treated this afternoon and such, until that evening. And that evening something happened, which I'll tell you right now. So I was taking a hike around the neighborhood like I usually do, and I remember crossing the street right over here, and I'm crossing 15th and Santa Ana, and that's where I was 3 years ago. So as I was walking down the street, I noticed over here that there were like a couple of people about to drive up here, and there's a person over there, I think there was some party or something, and he started to walk across the street, and as he did so, he was sort of looking at me, and I wasn't sure what, but I wasn't feeling any hostility or so. And he continued to walk, and there was a person in a truck about to pull out, and I just there were a lot more cars than there were over here. However, I was like standing here between cars waiting for him to pass, because I was just taking a leisurely walk, and if I do that, I don't want to hinder any traffic or anything like that. So I was just standing in one place waiting for him to just come by. And I just kept on standing there, and all of a sudden he starts to come over here and just stops right here. And from what I saw, I started hearing a lot of loud noises, a lot of shouting, and this man in the driver's seat had his phone up, and he was yelling in front of his phone, pointing at my direction. As it turned out, he was a local reporter. He wasn't like a big-time reporter on the news or anything, but he was like a local Orange County reporter, and you know, he just wanted to interview me, and he really made me feel special that day. He said that people are probably going to recognize me off the street, and I'm like, oh, well, I bet not, but I'm very thankful to that man. Last time I communicated with him was September 27th, 2017 at Rangers and such. He sent me a message on Messenger, so I said, yeah, I'm doing good. And so the very next day, I was crossing Tustin and Ogle Street, and as I was crossing, there was a bicyclist that was coming from behind me, and as he was passing me, he turned around and he looked at me, and I thought, he looks very familiar. Is it like high school youth group or church? And I just couldn't place it, but he stopped and he said, hey, I saw you in that live video, I guess the day before or sometime. And I'm like, wow, and it really made me feel good. And you know, later, I want to say Monday, September 4th, 2017, I don't know why, but what I do know is that I was walking down by Staples, and there's a person that I met who works at a like a surf shop over there on the 17th Street Promenade, and he came up to me, we said hi to each other, and we remembered each other, and he said, hey, I saw you in that live video, so I'm just humbled. So this individual really made me feel good on this day, because usually whenever I exit out my house or my apartment, there's always at least one person who, like in the neighborhood, who thinks I don't belong or I shouldn't be there, or that I'm probably not alive or or something, or in that sense, like maybe I deserve to be in like a circus or a penitentiary asylum or something. And a lot of people just look at me and just think I'm somebody that I'm not, and that's been going on like since kindergarten. It really hurt me. So now I'm just continuing in the fight to, you know, expose like we are alive and we are real people. It's called autism, and we could do amazing things. I know that a lot of people in the world know that, but not everybody. A lot of people in my community, some know, and a few don't, and including that boy at Newport Mesa Church. Like I said earlier in this video, that it doesn't matter whether I'm at school, church, at the store, or in the park, or anywhere in the neighborhood, there's usually always somebody, and it just never stops. More recently, there's a person at Newport Mesa Church that volunteers or works, I'm not sure, at the youth, or the high schoolers at least. And you know, I just get the sense that she just despises me because I have autism. Every time that we have to pass each other, she always, you know, turns the other way, and sometimes she's, you know, I say hi and I go by first name basis. Obviously I'm not going to say the first name here, but I say hi, and sometimes she does smile and then just turns the other way like in a split second and continues to go. And oftentimes she chooses to ignore me and make sure that she is turned away if she happens to know that I'm here. But I'm always, you know, here saying hi, and I'm not sure why, but I've never done anything. I've literally never done anything but just say hi and smile. I guess she saw how I act, how I sounded, how I looked, and just decided to discriminate me. I'm actually approaching Heller Park, and I mentioned Heller Park in my book, but it was about when a couple of teenagers just, you know, laughed at me and such, and I wasn't doing anything but just walking by. And there's also a story I never told a human soul before, something that happened on August 18th and the 19th, 2017 with a guy over there due to his discrimination against me. And in fact, I'm inclined to say hatred, but you know, if you want, I may be planning on making a video explaining what happened on those 2 days, because I saw him again 2 days in a row. There is one more thing that I want to add, and it, you know, goes to prove that discrimination still abounds today. Well, I mean, you could watch a couple of my YouTube videos to prove that. But something that just happened like a few blocks ago is I was walking by as normal as I could look, as normal as I could be, and there's this basketball player that was coming by. I presume he was going to practice at Cliff Drive Park and such. And as I was passing by, of course I always have my head down and looking both ways, and I feel that he had a constant stare at me. I also say that because as I looked up at him, I saw him, he was like staring at me kind of peculiar, and I'm not sure, my autistic mind interprets that look, that countenance as like a what's wrong with you type thing, like and it's like I just look as normal as I could be, and that's something that's been going on for years and years. And I talk about when people stare at me in my book and in my trilogy coming up, and that's just something I need to point out. And usually when that happens, I mean, I just want everybody to know that I'm a person they could trust, and I'm always, you know, smiling and motivating and encouraging and such, and I just want to help people. And most people at first sight just, you know, they either stare or ignore me or something, and that's again what pushed me to write this book and everything. There's a story in August 2017, I believe it was. I was walking down Knox Street over there, and there's a boy on the trampoline, and he was very good, but as soon as I turned the corner, he immediately dropped down and pretended, I guess, not to be there. But then as it got closer, he got back up and started jumping, and he wouldn't look at me and anything, and I just wanted to say good job. Just wanted to say good job. I just lost my nerve. And you know what? I lost my nerves today, and having autism, that's easy to do. And I saw on his shorts that he was wearing my middle school's shorts, and I just wanted to say, hey, I'm class of 2009 there. I went there too. But you know, I lost my nerve. He probably, I don't know, what do you do? I mean, people ran away from me, people laughed at me, people did everything. I'm just trying to be an encouragement, and that doesn't matter whether or not I do compliment them. A lot of people take compliments nicely, but a lot of people just, you know, look at each other and laugh at my presence and everything, even if I do compliment them, and they never say thank you, some of them. And that, I'm wanting it to change, but I don't want it to change with just me, honestly, because if I'm discriminated and hated like this, I'm sure that many people are too. Now, not everybody, not everybody hates me. I just want to make that clear. But not just me, I want all bullying and teasing, discrimination of whatever type eradicated. Basically, like if a person has Down syndrome, for example, or autism or muscular dystrophy, I mean, everybody's got to treat other people with respect, and that's what I'm fighting for. So there's more videos out there, more videos that I plan to make, just explaining, you know, some of the things through my perspective and my stories and how I interpret it, and hopefully you could just be encouraged because of that. If you want any more details or have any questions, please ask in the comments below. I'd be happy to make another video explaining the answer to the question. And you know, I'll never reveal any names or anything that would identify a person or anything like that. So anyway, just stay strong and be happy and have a blessed day.